to Ringside, the show where the sacred and profane collide. You are with your host. He's in the car. He's not here yet, but Ross Engel will be joining us, hopping on here. But we do have myself, Joel Hest, and Tyler, the intern.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I don't think you really meant that.
No, not at all. I'm just excited to see Ross. That's the only reason I'm here today.
That's right. That's right.
And he's not even here. So.
He's not here. He didn't show up. Jerk. We got a special guest here, the Reverend Andrew Preus in Missouri.
Yeah.
Talking about the his young men's camp and other stuff, and always good to have you on, Andrew.
Yeah, it's good to be on again. It's been a couple years.
It has. I know. I feel like we see each other for sure. Fort Wayne, passing by, but we'll have to do this
St.
more
Louis.
often.
I didn't go to the symposium last year because I think it was on technology or something. I thought that sounded it just kind of sounded really boring to me, so I didn't go.
I don't. Yeah, I hop in. I shouldn't tell them this. I don't pay for any either seminary. No one seems to care. I forget about it. Really, I'm not being I'm purposely jerky. I just don't think about it because I'm thinking about hanging out with friends.
So, I've done that way. I've done that at Fort Wayne where I'm only there for a couple days.
Yeah.
And then I just go to the Commons and
set up camp.
Yeah, and I don't go into the actual auditorium, and I figure, well, I think I did that once or twice, but now I pay because I can afford it now. So, and I go the whole week. So
that's right. Got to support it.
I've matured.
Maybe I haven't matured yet. Is what you're saying?
Joel's dragged me to the symposium a couple times, and I think I've attended all of 45 minutes of actual lecture. And
I know.
we just hang out around Don Halls and various Don Halls locations when those were open.
We try to hit all the Don Halls. That's one goal.
It is talk about continuing ed, right?
My church is listening to this, so they're like, "What are we paying for?"
He was in Cadillac. That was before Chicago.
That's true. Yeah, I have no excuse now.
I remember years ago someone asking me, "So what do we get out of this that you go to symposium?" And of course, I give the pious answer of I get to learn, I get to continue my understanding of theological issues, which is all true, I suppose. But also, right now, I think I would say you get a happier pastor.
There's something to that, by the way.
Hang out with my bros for close to a week in the middle of the winter. Get a break right after Christmas.
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of cool. So give me a break. Oh
no, it's healthy. It's healthy. It's funny we have to justify everything for a practical sense in this day and age, but absolutely correct. Hey, what one of my most favorite times was it St. Louis, and you had your buddy. You had was that
Gerard.
what it was?
Yes, Gerard.
Oh no,
yeah.
St. Louis. Yeah, wow, that was a great time.
That was awesome.
What a character! I hope to see him again sometime. Is that going to happen sometime?
I hope so.
Okay.
Are you going to the symposium this year?
Yeah, I'll be St. Louis.
St. Louis, okay.
And then Fort Wayne. We also do a bunch of podcasts with them. So we're doing business. We go.
Yeah, he
should
be there. I don't know how much of it I'm going to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Because it goes over a Wednesday, and we start catechism class, in September. So it, you know how it is. You hate to cancel something when you've only been doing it for a few weeks. So, but usually I've gone Tuesday, and maybe I can stay Tuesday night. My brother lives in St. Louis now, so he's actually attending. My second youngest brother. This is history. He's the first of Robert Preus's. Let me see. Yeah, the first of Robert Preus's grandkids to go to St. Louis for his own.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the choice made there? What closer? Or?
Well, I live in the greater St. Louis area. I'm about an hour away. And I told him that, St. Louis is any place is I went to St. Catherine's.
Yeah. Okay.
And a seminary, they need good profs.
Yeah.
But they need good students. They need a good culture of students. Those who love theology, who love to talk theology.
That's right.
And this kind of this relates then to the Camp Trinity Academy and why why I started this camp is, and this isn't to put down, we put down anyone, but there is a difference between going to seminary and just going there just kind of as like the academic thing that you have to go through to be a pastor.
Yeah, the hoops, right.
And going to seminary and like being dialed in and focused on the central article of justification through faith alone, the atonement, and just loving it, loving talking theology, and seeing doctrine as practical in every way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of practical theology, instead of doctrinal theology easily becomes just academic cerebralness, and then practical theology becomes sociological gayness, and the way that you overcome that is by having, like, living and breathing it.
That's right.
And so you need friends to talk about what you're learning in class. And I said to him, like, you're gonna have good professors there. You'll probably have some things that professors say that you're not going to agree with, that you're going to find is like kind of wishy-washy or not quite in line with the confessions, but not like blatantly.
Yeah, right. Sure.
And I mean you're going to experience that everywhere you go.
You'll be fine. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's but it sharpens you then to be able to sit and talk with your fellow students. And I said, Samuel, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have friends who you're going to be able to talk theology with, and you're going to be next to me.
Yeah.
And so you might as well just come here. And besides, I think that Egger is doing a really good job.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited. I'm excited about. And so one of the things that I started, and I'll get to the whole Camp Trinity Academy, but one of the things that's sort of a part of this is we started doing last year. We started doing this have seminarian retreats at Camp Trinity for seminarians from St. Louis to come over for like 24 hours, and we get together. We have someone gives a paper, and like I'll get a pastor, some visiting pastor, give a paper. Then we'll read articles together.
Yeah.
And then we'll Sunday night we grill out. We drink and smoke around the fire, and just hang out, and then during the day on Monday we'll we might read an article from a journal that addresses maybe something that they're studying in class that they want to talk about, and it's just an opportunity for them to sharpen each other, and to be able to talk theology in leisure, and so anyway, that's so this year we're going to be doing that again. We have it once in the fall and once in the spring. So but the main thing is we started this Camp Trinity Academy, and I was on here 2 years ago with you.
You just started it.
Yeah, and that was after our inaugural camp. We had 6 boys, and I had like one pastor helping me out like all day, every day. And then another neighboring pastor who he didn't stay over at the camp, but he was there most of the time.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. Besides, like, I had another pastor come and preach. I had a few pastors come and preach like during chapel.
Yeah.
And then this past July, we just had our 3rd year.
Right.
So our 2nd year we had 16 boys, and then this year we had 22 boys.
That's fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, and we had a few more pastors.
Yeah.
So this year, Jim Wilsusan, who is a neighboring pastor, taught. He taught like the lower level Lord's Supper class. So, and it's ages 12 to 14. I taught the upper level Lord's Supper class, ages 15 through 18.
Yeah.
And so I had the kids reading, Luther and Zwingli, and seeing how Luther Responds to Zwingli.
Yeah.
And I had them reading Luther and the excerpts on the Babylonian captivity.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Do you know Edward Nauman?
Yeah, he's right here. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's not far from you at all, is he?
No, great guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's come here a couple times now, and he taught a history class on the early Christian councils. Oh, and wow. And they really liked that class. And then there's a pastor Goots, and what was, let's see, Glenn, right?
Glenn Goots.
Yeah, and he just kind of like came out of nowhere. Like he was talking to another pastor in the district at the district convention, and that pastor had helped out last year and told him about it, and he just called me and offered to help. And so he taught a class on justification, brought them through the Apology, Article 4, and yeah, it was great. And so the way things are set up, it's basically the same way that we had set up last time I was on here, is where, you get up, you got breakfast at 8, and then you have your classes. You can take 3 classes, and you get library time, and then you go on a field work. So you go on like a shut-in call with the pastor, or go to nursing home and stuff like that.
Holy cow.
And actually, the last time I was on here with you and Paul, Tim Cook, Tim?
Yeah.
He does Jesus Door to Door. So he's taken like ongoing ambassadors for Christ and like beefed it up.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he came last year and this year and like did canvassing. And it was like 45 minutes. Yeah. So that's like their field work, right?
This is fantastic.
Yeah. Then they get back at like 3:30, 3 in the afternoon, and it's basically free time the rest of the day. We play, we have Vespers at 6 after dinner, and then we go and we play softball, like Chicago style softball.
Okay. Yeah.
Every night. And so anyway, it's turned into a really something that boys look forward to. So we have a few boys who've been there from the beginning. I think there are 3 boys who have been there year 1, year 2, year 3.
They come back. Okay. And
they come back, and they're always really excited. And then the other kids are just, really stoked to come. And it's great because we give them as much free time as possible, so they can just bond with each other, and they study together, they worship together, they make fun of each other, and they encourage each other, and it's great. So that's kind of that's sort of the summary of the whole thing.
This is kudos to you. This hits a lot of things. The last show, if anybody listened, I don't know if anybody listens all the way through. I feel like I never listened all the way through any podcast. So, but I talked about Luther writes this, and I just read it last week, this sermon telling parents to keep their kids in school. And now he's thinking boys, but to be pastors is like, we need more pastors. And he's not doing it in the sense of like we talk now, like, oh, there's not enough pastors to fill the churches. No, he's like, you can't have too many pastors. And he means good pastors, of course, but go to school. We need more pastors, kind of like proliferate the world with pastors, not because that's an office of holiness per se, but because they're preachers of the gospel.
Yes.
And so that's how we should be, quite frankly, we should synodically, we got to get off the, we don't have enough pastors to fill churches. And instead, we need more men preaching the gospel. Stop thinking about churches or filling our needs. It's such a low common denominator. And this is a part of that, I would say. It blows my mind. They're reading, Book of Concord at that age, and let alone, worshiping together. I can't say enough. Good, just fantastic job. We need more of this.
Well, and to your point there, that is exactly what we emphasize at this camp. So in the evenings, there are these twin brothers, Joseph and Jesse Schlee, who were both in Missouri for a while, and now Jesse's up in Iowa. But they both came and brought campers, and they led the fireside chats at night. And this year they did Walter's evening lectures on Long Gospel and just summarize them with the kids. And we gave each kid a copy of Walter's Long Gospel. To take home. And well, the final evening I came and I did kind of a final, fireside chat with them and talked to them about if that they should consider being pastors. And I asked, how many of you actually want to be pastors? And a few more raised their hands than did when I asked that at the beginning of the week. But then I asked, how many of you want to be faithful leaders in your households and in your churches? And they all raised their hands.
There you go. There you go.
Said,
exactly right.
That's the point of this.
That's
and
right.
That's why you should all consider being pastors, not, as you said, for the sake of like filling some like quota office.
Right.
But to think of yourself as a pastor in your place for your household. Right.
That's right.
So in other words, one of the taglines that I've been emphasizing is think theologically. And that has to do with, don't be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Right. And it fits everything. I mean, it's theology is not for the church. It is reality. So you're just talking about reality if you think about it.
Yeah, it's true.
Ross, good to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Can you hear? Whoa.
Is that too loud?
Oh, no, it's just right.
Deep
clear,
and sultry, and
soothing, kind of comforting a little bit.
I never felt this way about you before, Ross. But
man, Ross is at home. Is that right?
On a 96.
Like no home.
I'm on a 96, like a 4-day weekend. But I'm preaching on Sunday, so this morning I was working on my sermon. I've been kind of pulpit filling for, the last 2 months at different churches, and it has been an adventure. Definitely a fun time.
You could do that all day, couldn't you? In the Southern California,
there's a lot of vacancies.
That don't have
a lot of places that just don't have pastors for whatever reason. Not necessarily. Sometimes it's vacation. Actually, I've been swapping pulpits back and forth with Jaime Nava and John Feeney, Hans Feeney's dad. So he's out here, and we've been pulpit swapping different places. 1 week I'll be there, weird. Next week he'll be there, and it's been fascinating.
John, my uncle. He's my uncle.
No
John.
kidding. What a small world. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he's married to my dad's sister.
Yeah, that's a small Lutheran world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there a magazine or website called Pulpit Swapping out there? Don't type that in.
No, that's probably a bad.
That'd be a nice reality TV show.
It would.
Oh, yeah. To be honest, that would sell. Am I right? Or even like,
I think it would actually,
like The Office, but church life. That's that's easy money.
Could you imagine like the Dwight Schrute of pastoral ministry? That's like half the guys.
I've met,
I think that's more than not
right.
That.
Yeah.
You have that, but you also have a lot of pastors that are like Jim, like everyone else is crazy. Like when you're at a church, like everyone else is crazy, it feels like, and you're frequently looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well,
the
crazy
good
thing.
Deal. We're talking.
I kind of came in a little bit towards the end. I know, Andrew, you're talking about the work you're doing out there. I know a couple kids that I had at my church went through and got to experience what you're doing. One of them, I think, is at seminary. Maybe two of them now. The Gillespies. I think Josh went out and, or Ben, one of the two, went out and experienced your camp.
To Andrew's thing?
I think so.
Really?
It was brand new. I think they went out and did it, had a great experience. Now they're at seminary, learning to be pastors.
Well, the only kid from your neck of the woods would be Mason.
It was Mason Laeza. Oh, gotcha.
Laeza.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he's in college now, but he is planning on going into seminary, and he wants to be a chaplain.
Yes, he does.
Last heard, but the Gillespies, Yeah, we haven't had them.
I thought they had went, but
what were they doing then?
They must have been doing maybe Christ
oh,
Academy.
maybe so.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I
told
based
their parents
this
they
on.
were going up there.
They really just went to Mizzou and did a spring break there or something, right?
It's possible that they did. Yeah, they could have. Who knows what they did? But
Spring break
Christ Academy is what Fort Wayne does, and they've been doing that for
forever.
Boy, a long time. I mean, like 20 some years. So I mean, you got guys who've been in the parish for almost 15 years who did Christ Academy when they were in high school. And that's kind of what I didn't go to Christ Academy, but I kind of get the gist of what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I based the concept on that. But the main reason why I thought of starting this was, I got a call down here to New Haven, and this is where Herman Otten was pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got, there's Camp Trinity, which is also connected to Christian News, and so the Christian News office is at Camp Trinity. And so I went into the office, they're showing me around, and then they put together this library where they took all of the books that Christian News had compiled over like 50 years, and they cataloged them and put them in the library. And I mean, it's like a small college library.
Wow. I gotta visit that place sometime.
Yeah. I mean, you got, it's enough to make use of. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to use this library for a camp?
Yeah.
And to teach kids how to pursue their theological interests. So that's one of the things that we do in the camp, is that when they get here, when they fill out their registration, they'll answer like, what's your favorite theological topic? And things like that. And then when they get here, we'll recommend books for them in the library.
Oh, wow.
And then every day they have an hour of library time that they can use either to read the book that they've checked out that week, or to do whatever reading they've been given in class, which I usually give more reading in my class, but that's just because I tell the other guys, give them like 5 pages,
Yeah.
But then I give them like 15.
Because you want to be the hard ass is what's going on.
Yeah,
You want to
raise the standard. Absolutely.
Yeah. And what's cool is that what I tell the guys who are teaching is we want to get them as close to the source as possible. So if you're doing a Bible study, that's great. Read scripture. If you're doing confession studies, read the confessions and read Luther, like read the stuff that's being written historically around the confessions.
Yeah.
And so we got kids reading what I asked them, what was your favorite class? And they said it was history with Pastor Naumann. And I asked why, and they said because of the first canon of the Council of Nicaea. And I said, well, what does that say? And they said it's the requirements of entering the priesthood, that you must have a pair of testicles.
Does it say, what is it? What is this? Does it say, or is he saying that? What does it say? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you cannot be castrated. Like you have to have.
To be.
Yep.
As
we got
you must have 2 balls.
That's a bumper sticker right there.
Yeah.
Like for the Missouri Synod, you gotta have balls.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is that this is not about church work.
Yeah.
This is about theology. This is about being a pastor, but it's geared toward young men.
Yeah.
And I've been pleased to see how the culture has materialized, because the boys are boys.
Yeah.
And they have the boy banter. Yeah, they're pious kids, They're not like being disgusting.
Right.
I mean, maybe not that disgusting,
In front
they're
of
not. Yeah, but
these are a bunch of guys determining what's disgusting too, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, that's
like that's what.
But they're just like they're bros. There's
yeah.
a camaraderie that they're looking forward to hanging out with their bros for a week next year. And that's what's cool about it. So we're hoping that one of the goals is that even if it's just like a fraction of these kids end up going to seminary. If they can go to seminary with that confidence of like, this is fun, this is studying theology is fun.
Yeah.
Talking with my friends about God's word, and ironing, sharpening iron, sharpening iron. That's fun. That's enjoyable. And the work of studying, which is hard work, bears fruit.
Yep.
And when you're able to, leisurely talk with your friends about it.
Yeah.
So,
and then what you described is seminary. You just continue that in a different level. And again, what you're describing is seminary, and people oftentimes think that seminary, and seminary gets blamed being academic and a white tower, right? Ivory tower stuff. And my experience, I learned the gospel for the first time. I wasn't a Preus. I wasn't constantly a bunch of preachers talking to me, but I went to church my whole life, LCMS, majorly involved. And I would say it's nobody's fault necessarily. Although I think the 80s were a disparaging time of preaching, but another topic, and catechizing. But for sure, I learned the gospel. It personally hit me, if you want to play that game, of believing and formation and that kind of stuff. Changed my life in the sense of like, it doesn't mean I wasn't saved before. I was saved at seminary, but I really came to know the power of the gospel, the period on it, for one's life,
right?
You're not sitting around talking about how many angels can fit on a pin. It's exciting, and even the stuff you're doing, Andrew, like these are not just documents that are just, well, you got to know this, and that's the right doctrine. Like this is life-changing, worldview-changing stuff. That's just a blast to play with, to play in that sand.
Well, and that's the tension, right, with seminary, because there is a lot of academic and theology, and I think what ends up happening is the professors teach the theology and the language and the academic stuff, but it's the conversations that take place outside of class that really does the molding and the shaping, and I think that's where perhaps the seminary, I wouldn't say doesn't do well, but it could do better, right? Like we send guys out who are theologically sound, who are academically equipped to be pastors, but maybe not able. They haven't been trained in the pastoral arts.
Social
you kind of learn that when you get to the parish. You learn it by doing, right?
You get thrown in the fire,
and that's the challenge for some of the first year guys. They go from academia to now I have to be not only the pastor, but be seen as the leader within the congregation. And I know we've kind of lamented before the level of masculinity and manliness that maybe is lacking from some population of the seminary, and kind of a lamenting. How do you literally how do you encourage these men to actually use their two balls and be men within the parish, and to know that?
I think you don't. I think you can't. I think what Andrew's doing is kind of creating. By the time you get to seminary, you are who you are. I think. And again, there might be a setting where you fit well in, right? But I think having these camps with just seeing that this is about life and not just pastors know theology, or I think that's
the rubber
huge.
meets
this
the road.
Is just fun stuff, whether you go to be pastor. Yeah.
And to see theology as something that's practical, something that's a way of life. Like it's so foreign to me when people say, "Well, I'm not a theologian," and then they go on to talk like sociology.
They are theologians.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And it's
you're not a good one.
Good theologian.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Practical theology becomes just statistics and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
And and I'm sympathetic to a lot of the impulse to look at studies, and those things can be helpful.
Sure.
Even psychology and sociology, other philosophies can be helpful. But we're to hold everything captive to the obedience of Christ. And as Luther said, before you philosophize with Aristotle, you should be stupefied by Christ. You should become a fool for Christ. And think like a theologian, think like Christ, with the mind of Christ. And that means then that when you hear and you learn about the hypostatic union and the genus, idiomaticum and apostelismaticum and Maestaticum, that you don't get bored with that. You're like, this is awesome. I see why this matters, because the comfort of Jesus actually being with me in his word and sacrament is real, you know? And I want to tell the world about this. And then you're going to go and try to tell the world about it, but you're going to sound like a nerd, and then you're going to get frustrated because everyone thinks that you're just trying to be an academic and stroke your own ego, but you're not trying to do that, you know, and you just love theology, and it takes a while to be able to figure out how to communicate this. But I think the worst thing that you can do for young men like that is to give them, you know, knock them over the head with some kind of guilt trip, like they're not being personable enough. You know, I think they certainly need to learn, like, to kind of shake off the tism, so to speak. You know, but they also need to be encouraged and not like squashed, and like their zeal doesn't need to be squashed. You know,
if you really actually love theology, I think someone can say they love theology, but it's artificial. They know, I can see someone academically really getting into all that and yet not taking to heart. I think that's definitely possible, because it's fun mental games for sure. But if you love the Lord and you love to study what the Lord has said and who he is, you will be, to some degree, in your own unique way, you will love people, and you will and so to me, the biggest, you want a pastor to be great with people first. Well, you said it well. First, be great with the Lord. You know, be great with Jesus and listen to him. You will be transformed, of course, but I mean, you're just going to go out because you want to talk about it. You're going to want to talk about that and communicate it the best way you can.
And that's why I think that the entire epistle of James, I think that that's what that's about. I think the entire epistle of James is a defense of theology against moralizing asses who say, well, you have your faith, but I have my works. And he's like, well, show me your faith without your works then. You who compartmentalize theology and faith from the ethic, from the everyday life. And I'll show you my everyday life. I'll show you my faith by my everyday life. By my, because that's what theology is. It's a habitus. So James isn't talking about justifying faith before
defending
God.
Works.
He's not defending works for like in some moralizing fashion. He's defending theology as a habitus, as a practical everyday thing that shapes us in the way that we think.
Okay, that's really good. Now, if I missed a great book on that, because that's I'm fine with James, because I think it's very clear he is clearly coming from the right understanding of justification and talking to the people, right? I have no problem with it. But you just said something fairly radical and fun there. Is that you, or have you read that before? That's really fascinating.
It's mainly
that's pretty good.
It's mainly my own observations from reading James, but I know that
that's clever.
Dr. Thomas Winger was saying something similar when I was in seminary, and that James was engaged in a polemic against those who were trying to disparage faith and treat faith like it's an easy thing. And you know, this comes out even though they're not, you know, exegeting James in this way, but in the Apology, Article 4, I think it is, if I remember correctly, Melanchthon says, you know, you guys our adversaries take for granted the first table of the law. They act as if that's easy. And that's just sort of like, oh yeah, of course we need that. But then they focus entirely on the second table of the law, with the first table of the law in the background. And that's what we get with this kind of mamby-pamby quote unquote practical theology, which is really just psychobabble and sociology. And no wonder, like, I mean, and it's effeminate. It's totally demoralizing. It gives you a guilt trip for loving the eternal truth. I can't think of anything more practical than that the Son of God became flesh and took my sin away. I mean, my goodness. This is you know, that when you bear your cross and it seems like God is angry with you, which it does. I just went through severe pain the last few days. I stayed up all night Tuesday night because I had inflammation in my groin and hip and stuff. It was awful.
Right.
And I was praying all night, and I had, and it's like, and I'm going through Job, Bible class, and I'm thinking like, God is angry.
The end. Yeah.
Like, I deserve this. I deserve much worse.
Wow.
And I'm taking comfort in the justification of the sinner
That's
before
all you
God.
got. Right.
That's and so if you don't see that as the most practical doctrine, even as it is the hoped article, the chief article, and the highest and most cerebral and mysterious doctrine, then if you can't see that heaven and earth come together like that, then don't be a pastor.
Right.
Don't say, well, I'm good with people.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. No, yeah, totally.
This is what I'm going to do then, is if you say you're good with people, I'm going to say, this is why we need to have these local ministeriums do the examinations of pastors. And say, so what I do would be like, so what is it that you would say it is you do here?
Yeah.
I'm a people person. What's wrong with you people?
We had it wasn't, maybe it was my call service at seminary at St. Louis. We had, as is pretty common, it wasn't as bad, I don't think, quite frankly, as Dean Taylor's last year, but it was definitely the classic, and this is what's wrong in the 80s, like, it was not that it was in the 80s, but this guy probably went to school there in the 80s, and it was one of the presidents of the districts, right, which you never know what you're getting. And he preached purely that you gotta love people. I mean, it was the dumbest thing I've heard. Now, is there a time and place for that? We all need correction, law, gospel, and hey, how can you say you love Jesus when you're hating this? Yes,
sure,
I get that.
Of course.
But you want your pastors madly in love with God, who sent His Son to die and rise for us, and then they will, by nature, it will flow out. The more you adore what Christ has done for you, the more you are baffled that this is the body and blood, the living gospel, external word on my lips. You got to talk about it. You want other people to know why? For their comfort and peace in Christ. And it all begins with the Lord and His word, not your love for people.
Right. Yeah. And that, I always tell people that's what sent me to seminary in the first place, was that experiencing of forgiveness and wanting that to be then my life's work, was to declare that piece of forgiveness to sinners who are terrified by their sin. It was funny, a couple months back, we had one of the SEM recruiter people came to the church we go to, and he gave a whole presentation on coming to the seminary and encouraging men to become pastors. And he ended the whole thing with we just, if you're a man who loves people, come to the seminary, we can teach you the rest. And my 12-year-old daughter looks at me and says, Dad, is that why you left the pastoral ministry and became a chaplain? Because you don't love people? Because I'm regularly complaining about people, being annoyed by them,
true,
and,
as a pastor.
and just how terrible they
he knows
are.
you.
She's like, Dad, is that why you're not
join the military? Because
there's no
the military is where you go to love people,
right?
Have you ever read the book Brand by Henrik Ibsen?
Yeah.
No.
Would you say Henrik Ibsen? Yeah, the playwright.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, the Brand is like this caricature of a cold pastor, ideological pastor, and I mean, Ibsen was basically a pagan, modernist. He was one of the fathers of realist plays, and so he's clearly giving a caricature of from the perspective, he's probably, he's clearly like a resentful, like apostate. But it's interesting how he portrays Brand, this idealistic pastor, that he's over the top and he doesn't love anyone.
Yeah, right.
And then there's this one scene where his wife asks, "Why don't you love anyone?" And then he says, "Of what the paltry world calls love, I would not know, I could not speak. I know but his who reigns above, and his is neither mild nor weak. Hard even unto death is this, and smiting with its awful kiss. What was the answer of God's love of old, when in the olive grove in anguish sweat his own son lay, and prayed, "Oh, take this cup away"? Did God take from him then the cup? No, child, the son must drink it up. And that's like the shining moment in the entire play, even though the rest of the play is horrible, like depressing, it's awful. Don't be like Brand. He's a terrible ideologue. But what I would say, though, is, when you are, I don't think it's necessarily that you don't like people. It's that you get tired and worn out. I mean, look at the prophets.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like, you look at Elijah, and he's like, "I'm the only one left." Yeah. You get Jeremiah, who is just totally alone, and Moses is like, "Why'd you give me these people?"
Yeah. He wasn't a people person. Think about it. That's a really good. Yeah, look at all these guys. They didn't want their job because they really didn't like the people they were going to serve.
Yet, they showed way more love.
Yeah, and courage and service. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the best reply to "you gotta love people" I've ever heard. Just read all the people. Or Jesus, who is like, I love that line. Is it John? I think it's John, where Jesus didn't really need to know men. He knew men, or something like that. In like chapter 3. That's a beautiful
Or in Mark's
line.
gospel, it's like, keep the boat close in case the people get too close, right? Like,
or when he loses everyone in John 6, and then he turns to his disciples and said, "So are you going too?"
Yeah, you're out of here too. And he's not being hopeful. He's like, "So you guys are probably gone too, right?"
But what I love about John, like the end of John 2, as you just mentioned, it says, he did not entrust himself to any man because he knew what was in man. Yeah. And then chapter 3 begins with, there was a man named Nicodemus.
Yeah, that's right. Good Lord, somebody else.
Yeah, but this is the thing, like that. I think it's well-meaning, that statement that the recruiter said.
Oh yeah,
it's obviously well-meaning, but I think that's totally wrong-headed. We'll fill in the rest. No, I would say if you love theology, then come and we'll teach you theology. And part of learning theology is learning to love.
Yeah,
because that's like the highest theological virtue, right?
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
Without love, then you can have faith to move mountains, but you learn what that means.
Right.
Like when I was in seminary, I'd get annoyed by hearing all these lovey-dovey sermons about just love everyone.
Yeah.
But because it seemed to come from a kind of lackadaisical attitude about doctrine and practice and stuff like that. But then when you're actually when you're on vicarage and you're sick and people care for you, you have car problems and people help you, but then even more intensely when you actually experience people with terrified consciences, as Ross was saying, and you give them the gospel, and you learn through those experiences what love is.
That's right.
So if you're going to come in and say, "Well, I'm just really good with people," well, maybe you're just a narcissist.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
You're very egotistical and you think very highly of yourself.
Yeah. I used to, when I first went to seminary, I'm confident most people thought that was crazy because I would be the definitely hater of mankind. Not on the level of, hold up and recluse, but I did not speak well of people. Angry man that really just thought everybody was stupid, except for me.
Right.
And
wasn't that the original name of Ringside? Wasn't What's Joel Angry at this week? Like that was the podcast.
That's post conversion.
Oh, okay.
So I can't. So I guess maybe I'm still hateful.
3 years of our podcast in the middle.
I hate everyone.
But I really consent not to testify, give my testimony, but I absolutely love people. And why? Because I see them through the gospel.
Right.
Yes.
And that's why.
And not to say I'm humble, but absolutely humbles me, being a pastor. And I didn't learn it. I learned it through theology, but not theology on paper. but the living Word of God.
That's right.
And what's done to me, its conversion and converting of me just plays out.
The school of experience in the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Luther says it well. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard from Tyler. What's up, Tyler?
Tyler, you love people?
How you doing? I do love people.
Obviously,
that's why I quit ministry.
Yeah. What do you think, Tyler?
I think it's a really cool idea. I love the idea of this camp. I think we could use more of them in more places.
Yes.
I think that's probably one of the biggest areas that our church has failed and is continuing to fail is the lack of inspiring, lack of leading young men towards the seminaries. I would bet, and I was probably just as bad as anybody at that. But yeah, I think I would guess that I honestly don't know anybody personally other than meeting them through seminary circles that chose to go to the seminary. And I've grown up in a Lutheran church my entire life. And I don't know of anybody from my church that has gone to the seminary.
That's interesting.
I think that's a massive sign of failure. And I think if there was more things like this that we could point young men to, I think it'd be a great thing for the church and our communities.
Yeah. And begin there. Just get them excited about, or even having Bible studies for young people. But even like, offering serious stuff, which I think kids actually want to be treated seriously. And have primary sources like you're doing, Andrew, and you know what I mean. And I think they actually respect you. They're hungry for that, and they're not. I don't think they're getting.
Well, and I focus, and I want to emphasize this, that I focus on boys, on young men.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's important because I do think, and this is maybe a bit of sociological talk, but that's okay. I have kids. I have 7 kids. I have 4 boys, 3 daughters. Girls are very adjustable, very adaptable, I should say. And boys are too, but girls they're created to submit. And so that's why they do better in school, typically, because they submit to the rules.
Good at following rules and yeah.
They follow the rules. Boys, they need other boys. I think boys need other boys more than girls need other girls. And girls do need other girls, but we can have like co-ed camps and stuff like that. But if we really want to hone in on the culture for the church, then not that we do this to exclude the girls, because the girls can be grafted in, so to speak. But I think we got to focus on the boys. I think we got to let the boys study together, hang out together, and even tease each other. There were some boys going down to the National Youth Gathering. They had to leave a little early from our camp to get down to the National Youth Gathering. And then at night, they're all talking about how gay contemporary worship is, and they're just and they're boys, but and we try to give them, some, we try to give them some direction with how to think about worship and talk about that kind of stuff. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm all for people have asked me, oh, would you want to have maybe a Hannah Academy or something for girls? And I'm not against that. I think that'd be great. That's fine.
Yeah. Just you with a bunch of girls. Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. If someone else wants to do that, go ahead. But I don't know. And I don't know. I can't really quote to you any studies. I guess I'm speaking more just from kind of intuition and experience. I grew up with a bunch of boys. I have 7 older brothers and 3 younger brothers and a younger sister. And I love my sister. She's awesome. But I mean, I know what it's like to be formed by boys and being sharpened and teased and picked on and stuff. All this kind of anti-bullying stuff. I get it. I experienced bullying, but at the same time, bullying isn't necessarily as damaging as people say it is.
Right.
Again, like hazing, like little bits of poking fun. Now, kids can be mean and pagan about it. You know, they can be wicked, and we got to curb that stuff. So those are things like, and I had to do that, and really get hard on if a kid insults another kid's mom.
Right.
Is totally off base.
Right.
Because we teach the fourth commandment. Yeah. We teach respect, right? These boys learn to respect each other. But if they make fun of each other for thinking that like thine the amen, thine the praise is a good hymn,
right?
Well, maybe
you want that. That's healthy, though.
Yeah, maybe you should get made fun of a little bit.
Well, it makes you think, or maybe that, and I hate even calling. We don't want. I think it shouldn't be called bullying even. But but you are right. It's been defined like that. So now we're just saying no to it. But this is, if you don't have something pushing you, then you're not gonna. Maybe this causes you to actually have an excellent reason for why you like thine the amen.
Right.
If you didn't have someone like
forcing you to put it in words,
pushing you against it, I don't know how.
Yeah. I mean, well, come on, I mean,
no, wait, like a third grader wrote that. I totally agree.
Well, and you're right. It's the kind of just the ribbing each other that kind of molds and shapes too, right? Like you guys give
that's right.
We do that all the time when we get together. We give each other a hard time about stuff that are we being mean? No, but like you definitely kind of can help someone grow and change a little bit. I mean, there is something to that, and my kids and I have said more than a few times when we see people walking around, we're like, oh, mercy. My kids will say, Dad, maybe they need to bring bullying back to school, and that would maybe solve that problem. I'm like, yeah, that probably would actually.
A little bit when you have none of it. I think it's actually true. And again, I'm not saying severe, insane, not. Which it is become that with social media. There's insanity of how kids are acting toward one another. But as far as like pushing, I'm not talking about give me your lunch money, but as far as like, that's another topic. Hey, let's I gotta go on here.
Can you guys at least finally listen to Andrew that making fun of my mom is not okay, and we need to kind of not do that anymore?
I mean, do we make fun of your mom? I mean, I don't know.
There could be generic. I taught the kids this. I said, if you tell generic yo mama jokes, that's okay. But if you're actually like cutting about your mother, that's totally out of bounds. Follow the 10 Commandments. Don't hurt someone's reputation. Like if you're hurting their reputation, if you're trying to destroy them, that's wicked. But if you're just like making fun of a kid for something that's really dumb and that he likes to play Dungeons and Dragons or something, not necessarily
go
bad
for it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying any of the kids went through that, but anyway, that's. You said you got to get going. Are we done?
I do gotta get going here. But this is we'll have you on again. We'll talk about the Christian nationalism. I want to talk about Christian. I feel like you'd be the perfect person for that. What's that? Well,
maybe I could say a little bit about it. Real quick before you go, if you want to check out our website, you go to camptrinityacademy.com, and we got. I'll have information up there for next year's camp. It'll be July 12th through the 17th. Next in 2026, and Joel, you're not that far. You should come up and.
I do want to check it out.
That'd be fun.
I should bring some guys down. I actually, that would be good, and to bring some kids down there. Okay, we'll get that in the liner note. Say it again one more time, Andrew.
CampTrinityAcademy.com.
Awesome.
All right. Check that out. Sign them up. Sounds like a blast. Iron sharpening. Thinking what element? Iron sharpening iron. Good stuff. Gold sharpening. Magnesium.
Copper sharpens copper.
Copper.
Guiding young men to think theologically.
I like that.
Excellent. Awesome, man. Good to have you on. We'll do this again. And everyone, thank you for listening, choosing Ringside for your drive, your run, your as you're going to fencing practice, as you are meditating, as you're taking a little time off. You're in prison, you're in the yard, and this is all you got, and it's helping you pass some time. We thank you for listening to Ringside. Drop us a line, tell us issues, topics you want to talk about. We love to bring those up, and we'll see you next time. Have we offended anybody at all?
We actually have. We have quite a list.
I feel like we got Preus on here. We got to be offending people. Okay, we need to apologize then, probably.
Yes, we would like to apologize to the following. Our sponsors that we forgot to mention are seminary symposiums, Don Hall, Ross Engel, Andrew Preus, and Camp Trinity Academy. Pastors who went to seminary just to jump through hoops, people who didn't listen to our podcast all the way through last week, churches in Southern California, pulpit swappers, the Dwight Schrutes of pastors, the Gillespie brothers from Ross's church, pastors with testicular cancer, 80s preachers, non-masculine seminarians, Julie Hess, Alice Nosman, Alicia Engel, seminaries with a bit of the tism, seminary recruiters, the U.S. military, non-people persons in the Bible, Jesus himself, Joel Hess, girls who don't submit well, contemporary worshipers, kids who didn't get bullied enough, my mom, 1517, and the Jagged Warriors.
Your mom.
That was a lot longer than I thought it was when I was writing it down.
That's a sign of a good guest, I would say.
Yeah.
Let's see. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Repent and believe the good news. Peace.